you feeling?
I'm wonderful.
It's a long season for you, and then you throw in March Madness. You got the NBA season. You got to deal with those knuckleheads, Charles and Shaq.
You know, it's a nice break from that. It really is. I love the college game. Always loved Madness, and to be part of it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of prep, a lot of work that you're doing in the middle of the NBA season to familiarize yourself with the college kids and the teams, etc. But then when you get to this point, you feel like you know them all pretty well. And so it's a great weekend.
But it helps you, I would think, that it gives you a little head start for them getting into the NBA.
Sure.
That you're doing your cramming for a final exam during March Madness, but then it's going to help you with the draft and then next season with the NBA with a lot of these guys.
That's true. It gives you a little lead in, and you can remember what these guys did in the tournament when you see them in the league. But tomorrow, I don't know how you feel about it, but tomorrow to me is one of the great days. If you're looking at the sports calendar, you got to circle that. I mean, it is such a fun atmosphere. All the colors, all the schools, everybody on the street, and I just love that day. And then to have those two games and everything that goes with it, whether that's celebrating or trying to sell your tickets to somebody who wants to go to Monday night.
Let me give you the full introduction for Ernie Johnson. He's hosting the studio coverage of the Final Four, the semis, and, of course, the title game on TBS. That'll be tomorrow and Monday. For the first time in the 78-year history of the event, national title game will air on cable.
On TBS.
Yeah. TBS is more than cable, right? Remember when Ted Turner had cable?
Yeah.
You know, something about cable was cool. Ted Turner was dressed in Western gear. I was cable before cable was cool. Yeah.
And to me, I don't even know if people make the differentiation a lot anymore.
I don't think they
the
do.
game's on CBS or it's on TBS. What number is it on my dish?
Exactly.
That's how you get to it. So, but it's huge for our company. I've been there. It'll be 27 years in July that I've been at Turner. And to see the steps that we've taken sports-wise from, it used to be Braves baseball, and that was it. And then it's, hey, we got to, with TNT, we got the NBA, we got the NFL, we've got Wimbledon, we got the PGA Championship, the British Open. And now to have the championship game on TBS, huge for us. Very, very proud moment for the company.
Would you be doing this if your dad wasn't a sportscaster, play-by-play guy?
I don't know, because when I went to Georgia, my dad obviously played baseball. That's what I wanted to do. So I played my freshman year, walked on, reserve first baseman, 2 for 18 at the dish.
I like it.
All
right. Wait. Did somebody laugh at Ernie over there?
I was laughing because he knew his stats off the top of his head.
It's not hard to remember one career RBI. And, it's part of the whole story because I walked on as a freshman and was told to walk off as a sophomore. So that went by the boards, and I was actually an English major, and I said, you know what I want to be? I'll be a high school baseball coach and an English teacher if this baseball thing doesn't work out. And then I've really just tried this, on the campus radio station WUOG in Athens. And then going to games for free and getting to just kind of hang out in the toy department was pretty fun. And so it just went from there,
But your dad was the Braves play-by-play voice for a long time.
I mean, Dan, I grew up in the booth. I grew up watching him work. For a long time, he worked with Milo Hamilton. Folks here in Houston obviously remember the late Milo Hamilton. And that's where I grew up, around the batting cage, having Hank Aaron say, how's your Little League team doing? It was great.
But your dad had the call of Hank's 715th home run.
Well, he had 5, 6, and 700, and then 714
in Cincinnati.
But Milo was 715.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How crazy was that night in Atlanta that you had snipers that were up on the roof in case somebody, because there were death threats against Hank Aaron. How old were you at that time?
It's 16 probably.
Yeah.
I was at the game. Remember Bill Buckner trying to climb the wall and make the catch, and Tommy House out there behind the left field wall making the catch. No, it was great, and I was actually, what was really cool is being in the booth to hear my dad call 600 and 700. And it sounds like I've lived at the ballpark. I wasn't there every night, but on those nights, I'd be sitting he'd be doing his play-by-play. I'd be like a level up, just listening and watching him work, and that was a very cool way to grow up.
You also had, when Ted Turner owned the Braves, didn't he have Andy Messersmith that had Channel
17? Yeah.
So that's where the Braves were first on, was Channel 17.
Right.
And he had Andy Messersmith put on the back of his jersey, his last name was going to be Channel, and his number was 17.
Right. Yeah. And Ted also managed a game or two.
Yes.
And, those days, and I feel for my dad in a respect back then, because the Braves were always mathematically eliminated before the All-Star break. And then in some of those August and September games, there was nobody in the ballpark. And my dad used to tell the story that he's doing the game, and he said, well, whoever was at the plate, waiting on a 2-1 pitch outside, 2-2. And he said, somebody behind the plate turned around and said, hey, hold it down up there. Those were some lean years.
I remember when I went to CNN and I would go to Braves games with Gary Miller, and you could actually sit in the sun. I went to left field, and then we'd move to center field, and then we'd move to right field in the same game.
Sure.
You just follow the sun. We had our own vendor, so he would sit there with us with a beer container, and he just sat there and watched the game with us.
You felt cheated if you left a game back then without a foul ball. It was like, how did that happen? I mean, it was sparse.
Well, remember when Charlie Sheen rented out left field for an Angels game? I think Cecil Fielder was hitting 50 home runs that year, and Charlie wanted a home run ball, so he bought left field. And I don't think he got a home run ball out of Cecil Fielder.
Oh my no! It's such a great game, and you know why? It's because we can sit here and tell stories ages later that still make us laugh and still make us fondly remember those days. I mean, a lot of folks these days are thinking, "Oh, the Braves were always good." No, it was far from it.
What advice do you have for people who want to do what you do?
Oh man, and I'm sure you get the same thing. You talk to college kids all the time, and they say, how can I get a foot in the door? It's so different now, Dan. Back when you and I were coming along, it was, okay, start in a small market, go to Macon, Georgia, make your mistakes, learn, and then move up, And there were so few other avenues, Believe me, there were no computers back then. There was none of that. And so it was, hey, start small and try to work up, and maybe you'll get to ABC, CBS, or NBC, and those, because they were doing the major things. ESPN changed everything in those terms, and then TBS and TNT and USA. I mean, everybody kind of got into the sports business doing things, and so I was amazed when I finally got to Turner that the number of people who were at ABC, CBS, and NBC who were banging on the door saying, "Boy, I'd love to work at your place." But to me, the foundation hasn't changed. You got to be able to tell stories. You got to be able to be concise. You have to be able to write. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to report. You have to be able to talk to people and realize the importance of not being first but being right. And I think it's so different these days, and it's discouraging sometimes to see the stories that get out there that have no basis in fact, no foundation, and it's and it's just somebody saying, "Hey, remember me? I'm the one who, quote, broke that story."
Well, I always say, I blame Bob Costas, that Bob made it look easy. And I think, I guess we can take some blame at SportsCenter that we had fun. So people want to do a job, and if you can have fun doing it and you love sports, then you want to be in that industry. I find it to be the most competitive job field in America. Because everybody thinks they can do it, and they're this close to doing it. If only I got a break. I know more than you do, so you get that.
No, everybody gets that. And the thing about it, we do have a good time, but there is work that goes into it. There is preparation that goes into it. Doing the show for me is the easy part. Hanging with Chuck and Kenny and Shaq, that's the easy part. That's the part that people look at and say, I want his job. Well, I say, well, tell me if you're willing to do this and this and this to be able to sit in that chair. And believe me, I realize the line is from here to the original Irma's where I had dinner last night here in Houston. The people, young guys who said, oh, I'm better than him. I could do that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of keeps you going. And I think it kind of keeps you working hard because you don't want this run to end until you're ready for it to end.
Best storyline for the Final Four is what?
The game's on TBS.
That's the best storyline.
Oh no! Every time I say that, though, it's
you get money.
But they smile back at the corporate office.
Are they watching right now at the corporate office?
Oh, I'm sure.
Are your bosses watching right now?
Oh, I'm sure. David Levy is probably glued.
Well,
to
he
the
watches
set.
every morning.
Yeah,
yeah. No matter if you're on or not.
Sure. The storylines. I think if North Carolina plays its best, nobody can beat them. They just do so many things well, and they're so deep. And but it's kind of what's fun is you got one team's got the best player in Buddy Hield. You got another team that's got sort of this magic right now in Villanova. You got the deepest team and probably the most solid team in North Carolina. And then you got this team that goes from first four out to Final Four in Syracuse that's been surprising everybody. So I guess that's the storyline at this point. I think more will be written on Saturday, of course, but I find it difficult to go against North Carolina if they're playing the way they have been.
He's Ernie Johnson. You'll see him in the studio coverage of the Final Four and, of course, the national title game from Houston.
TBS.
On TBS tomorrow and Monday.
Yeah.
First time in the 78-year history of the event, the national title game will air on TBS.
TBS. Where's the game tomorrow night?
Wait. This is where you play to the crowd, Ernie.
I'm trying. Where can you watch the game if you're not going to be there? Yes, that's what I thought. Thank you.
I think they said CBS.
No.
I thought I heard CBS.
Oh, stop.
It's America's most watched network, by the way.
Certainly.
CBS. It's great to see you, Ernie.
Man, it's always great to see you too, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, really, and you know what? Try Original Irma's for Tex-Mex. You know, you're looking for barbecue here, that place. It's right over there by Minute Maid Park. It's awesome.
Can we drop your name there?
Huh?
Can we drop your name there?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah? Ernie sent us?
You'll get in.
Big Ern.
Inside of 90 minutes, you got a table.
I like that. That's sooner than we normally get in. Thank you, Ernie.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.